Hello again, everyone. Today's lesson is going to be on rounding with multiplying. And I'm going to be using word problems to do that lesson today. Now, I have here in front of you is just basically a word problem using the idea of rounding and multiplying. Now, before I get into this any further, I'm just going to assume you already have the concept of rounding as well as multiplying. Okay, so I'm not going to really talk about specific rounding of like ones, tens, or anything like that, or hundreds. Okay, I'm not going to explain that individually. I'm going to assume you already know what to do regarding rounding, so I'm just going to basically, this is just going to give an extension of that. Okay, so as you can see, what I have here in front of us is just basically a word problem, and we are going to solve it. Okay, so it says, how much will it cost to buy 5 copies of each game? So if you look on the right hand side, I've got 2 games here. One's called Cool Cars, and the other one's called Buzz Beetles. And we're going to figure out how much it would cost to buy 5 copies of each game. So basically, as you can read here, it says each game costs approximately $20. So you can use $20 times 5 equals $100 to help you. Okay, and then this is what we're going to do next. All right, so if we're going to figure out exactly how we got that answer, we are going to look closer at this part here, where you can see the base blocks. This is base 1 blocks, and again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to assume you know how to do this. I'm not showing base 1 blocks here and continue to do this throughout the lesson. This is more of a visual here that I'm showing, just so you get an idea of how we're going to do this as a math problem. Okay, so if you're under the impression I'm going to be having you write, base 1 or base 5 or base 10 blocks, I will not be doing that. I'm using this just as a visual of what we're going to do mathematically to solve this arithmetic problem. Okay, so that's all we're going to do. So again, looking here now at this sentence here, it says, start with the $19 game. Is $100 too much money or not enough? Why? So they're asking you to solve this using this concept of rounding and multiplying. So we're setting it up right now. So the next question says, is $100 too much or not enough for the game that costs $21? Okay, so again, this is just giving you ways to think about how we can solve this as well. All right, so let's look at the next one. Here it says, the next sentence, it says, you can write calculations to help you keep track of the process. So here's where I'm going to focus on the problems, solving the problem here, is the calculations part here. Okay, and again, I repeat, the base 1 blocks that you see here are just a visual tool regarding this problem. Okay, it's not intended to be used for every problem that we do from here on out. It's just to help you see it. Okay, and you could try and do it on your own if you like, but it's going to take you a very long time to do that. So please don't do that. If you want to see me do a lesson on base blocks, base 1 or 10, base 10 or base 100, you can just leave a comment or send me a message and we can make an arrangement. So anyways, back to the topic here. Again, the sentence, I'm going to underline it here. It says, you can write calculations to help you keep track of the process. Okay, so we're looking here at this problem, and it's the $19 times 5. So the 2 games here, we got Cool Cars, that's cost $21, and Buzz Beetles, that costs $19. So we're looking at Buzz Beetles game here, that's $19 to solve this problem. So instead of doing the traditional way of just doing 19 times 5, we are going to round it up to $20 and multiply it by 5. And that number we rounded up will be taken back later. So we're going to subtract it later on. And what we're going to subtract is the $1 times 5. Okay, so by setting this up like this, we'll be able to find out if how much it will cost. So I'll take the $100, subtract it from the $5, and then the total cost here is $95. So if you wanted to buy 5 copies of Buzz Beetles, the price you're going to pay is $95. Okay, and that's what we're going to be focusing on for the next examples I'm going to show you, is this formula here. We're going to follow this formula to do the other problems I have that I'm going to show you shortly. Now, is this the only way to do this? As I've always said, no, this is not the only way to do this. Okay, this is just another way to solve problems, especially when you're rounding and you want to use multiplication. This is just another way to do it. Okay, so I'm just showing you one option. There are many other options to do that you can do to solve this, and this is just one way. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next problems I'm going to do now. So here is the activity I'm going to use to reinforce what I've just shown. And what I've done is I've cropped the image of the two games here, Cool Cars and Buzz Beetles, to put it next to the problem, just to kind of help us as a visual, just to have an additional visual. That's all. Okay, so looking at number 1, the directions say find the total costs for the number of Buzz Beetle games each time. Write a calculation to help you keep track. So again, we're going to just use a similar calculation to what I just showed you to solve these problems. So let's go ahead and look at number 1A, which says 8 copies. So if we buy 8 copies of Buzz Beetles, how much will the total cost be? That means all 8 together. So just like I showed you earlier, you're going to write $19 times 8, but then we're going to round that $19. We're going to round it to $20 and then multiply that by 8. And remember, keep in mind that just because we're adding that dollar, we're going to have to take it back later. So we're going to subtract that $1 that we added up to make it 20 and multiply it by 8. Okay, so as you can see here, what I've written out basically is $20 times 8 minus $1 times 8. And then from there, we just follow the regular rules for applying this, okay? So we're just going to multiply in the brackets first, the problem. So we got $20 times 8, which is $160, minus the 1 times 8, which is $8. Now that we've got $160 minus $8, we're just going to subtract that, and our answer is $152. Okay, so that's what we're going to put down for letter A there. Letter B has 4 copies. Same concept. We're going to take the $19 times 4, which equals $20 times 4. Subtract $1 times 4. Now remember, you're taking that $19 and you're rounding it up to 20. So we're adding 1. So again, we're going to have to take that back later. Subtract, hence the subtraction symbol here. And then we'll be able to solve it. So we're going to subtract eventually in the bracket, we're going to be subtracting $1 times 4. All right, so again, we're just going to take the $20 times 4, which is 80, and then subtract it from the $1 times 4, which is $4. So then we have $80 minus $4, which equals $76. Okay, so then that's going to be our answer for letter B. Okay, letter C, we've got 12 copies. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take the $19 and then multiply it by 12. All right, then we're going to round it up again. So we're going to take the $20 times 12 and then subtract it from $1 times 12. So we got 20 times 12, which equals $240. And then we're going to subtract that from 1 times 12 is $12. So we've got $240 minus 12, which equals $228. Okay. Letter D. Letter D, we have 9 copies. So we're going to take the $19 and then multiply it by 9. Then we're going to round 19 to $20 again, times 9. And then we're going to subtract it from $1 times 9. Okay, so 20 times 9 is $180, minus 1 times 9 is $9. So $180 minus $9 equals $171. So this is how we're finding what the total costs for Buzz Beetle games are each time. Okay, so there's some examples, and let's go ahead and take a look at number 2 now. Number 2, same directions, says find the total costs for the number of Cool Cars games each time. Write a calculation to help you keep track. Okay, so basically we're doing the same concept, but now we're using the Cool Cars game here, and that costs $21. So here's how we're going to solve this. Again, just like before, we're going to write $21 instead of 19 because the Cool Cars game costs $21. So we're going to write $21 times 8. I'm sorry, I should have told you we're doing letter 2A, which is 8 copies. So in order to set this up, we're going to write $21 times 8, representing the 8 copies. And then we're going to round $21 down to $20 times 8. Okay, and again, we're going to have to get back that dollar later. So we took $1 off of 20 to make it 20. We're going to have to add that back later. So instead of subtracting it, we're going to add. Now this is important because if you don't do this one part right, the whole thing will be wrong. So again, you have to demonstrate your reading and comprehension skills here by making sure you're reading this carefully and you're thinking about what you're writing. Because if you don't do it, it will be wrong. Okay, so please read this carefully and take your time. Okay, so again, we've got $20 times 8 plus, because we're going to have to add that on later, the $1 that we took from the 20 times 8. Okay, so we've got 20 times 8 equals $160 plus $1 times 8 equals $8. So the total cost for 8 copies is $168. Okay, letter B says 4 copies. So again, just like what we did with number 2A, for letter B, we're going to go $21 times 4, which equals $20 times 4 plus $1 times 4. And remember, keep in mind that we're taking off that dollar from 21, so we're going to have to add that back later on. So again, don't forget to put the plus sign. So we got $20 times 4, which is $80, plus $1 times 4, which equals $4. So the total cost is $84. Okay. Letter C is 12 copies. So we're going to take the $21 and multiply it by 12. And then we're going to do is basically what we've done for letters A and B for number 2. We're going to take $20 times 12 plus $1 times 12. So 20 times 12 is $240 plus 1 times 12, which equals $12. And then we're just going to add those two together, which gives us a total of $252. Okay, and then the last one here, letter D, is 9 copies. So we're going to take the $21 and multiply it by 9. So then again, we're going to just round it down to $20 times 9 plus $1 times 9. And again, don't forget, you're taking that dollar off, and later on we're going to have to add that back on. Okay, so hence us adding it. Okay, so again, just keep that in mind. I'm just reminding you. So $20 times 9 equals $180 plus $1 times 9, which equals $9. So you got $180 plus $9, which gives us a total of $189. So these are just some examples of how we're doing rounding with multiplying. Okay, now are you going to round it like this every time? Of course not. You have to keep in mind what you're rounding. If you're going to round it to the, I'm not telling you specifically, you have to round to the nearest $1 or $10 or $100. You have to decide based on the information you're given in order to get the answer correct. Okay, so I know many of you are maybe used to just focusing on a specific topic of rounding to the nearest $10 or the nearest $100. That might not be the case all the time. Okay, so as you're reading something, you've got to keep in mind what they're asking. Okay, and here they just want the answer of how much does it cost total for each copy. So the rounding may be based on that. So I just want to again remind you just to keep that in mind as you're doing this. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the bonus activity I have for you now, which again will be similar to what we just did, but not exact. Okay, let's take a look at that now. Okay, here's the bonus activity. And as you can see, it's basically the same idea that we just did. You're going to use rounding, and then you're going to be adjusting to complete these calculations. Write the calculation you use each time. Okay, so they're giving you the same type of problems here, and they want you to solve it. Now, don't worry about if it's a book or not. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're just using that as an example. Okay, just follow the same format here for each problem, and then you should be okay. So they gave you an example here. They did $19 times 6, and then it just equals $20 times 6 minus $1 times 6, which equals $114. Now, if you need space to do any of this, you've got your line paper or scratch paper at home. If you print this out, you're going to have the back side of this printout or the side here to do. So just do what they're asking here, and let's show that. What you see here that they're showing, show that as well. Okay, so for the second problem, just do the same thing for $12 times 19. And then for the third one, $21 times 8. And then for the next one, $12 times 21. And then for the last one, $19 times 8. So just apply the same idea of rounding and then multiplying. Okay, and number 10 here that you can see, it says, this is the problem that it says. It says, Afia makes a line using 19 pencils of equal length. Orlando makes a line using 21 pencils of equal length. Afia's line is 33 centimeters longer than Orlando's line. What length pencils did each child use? Okay, so this is just a little bit of an extension, more of a challenge if you're finding what I just did too easy. Okay, you can try and do this one after doing the previous problem for the bonus activity and see how you do. Okay, it requires a lot of reading and comprehension here, so take your time reading it, use paper, and just apply the concepts that we've tried. Okay, see how you do. This is very much a critical thinking problem. This one requires a lot of thought into it. Okay, but I just thought I'd put it in there just as a double bonus, I guess, challenge to see how some of you might want to try it. And then if you want to know how you did, hey, send it back to me, and I would like to see how you did and make a video about it explaining this more. Okay, so that'll do it for today's video. And again, if you've stayed with me this entire time, thank you very much. I appreciate you spending part of your day with me and watching my demonstration video. And if you have any questions or you would like to see something else, as always, please send me a message and we can make an arrangement. So until I see you next time, please be safe out there. Thanks again. Thank you once again for joining in today's lesson. Please message me through Facebook Messenger, or you can email me at jollyformore@gmail.com to learn more about my online tutorial service. Please leave a comment down below. If you know someone interested in hiring an online tutor, share this video. And if you would like to get a bell notification for all my newest videos, please subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you again in my next video. And until then, please be safe out there. Have a great day.